Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Nick and Sanjee podcast, where we share our tips and tricks on how to start and grow a YouTube channel as we ourselves go on that journey. Welcome back, Nick. How are you today?
I am pretty good. I'm pretty good. I've had a lot of sugar this week because it was my birthday on Monday, so I'm like all sugared up and ready to go. How are you? How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm on the other end. Didn't have much food this week.
Oh,
Entirely my
really?
fault. I and also I'll have the day off tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to a bit of rest and recuperation. Hopefully, and get my energy levels up.
Nice.
Then, and I just haven't had a chance to just tidy up my personal image, should we say? So
No, you
this
look
is as
great.
rough as Sanjee gets on the internet.
It's the rugged look. It's
This
good.
is the rugged look. And today we're actually doing something a little bit different. So if you see us looking slightly different, it's because I'm actually trying to record on a laptop. Because next week I'm going to be traveling around a bit, and we still want to continue recording, but we're just trying to find a way that I can record with a laptop. So apologies in advance if anything's a little bit different. Feel free to leave a comment, let us know what we could do different and better, but that is the case. That is why it may look like we're looking a little bit differently as I'm speaking. So let's get into it. Today's episode is on common misconceptions for YouTube creators. This is especially some of the questions and issues and things that Nick and I had in the early days of when we started our YouTube channel that we can now reflect on, both having now established ourselves for a while, both monetized. We can kind of say, yeah, that was a legitimate thing to be worried about. And this is something that you actually don't need to be worried about. It's something that kind of builds itself up more than is really necessary. So we have 6, 3 each, but we'll bounce it off each other and see how we go. So let's get into it. The first one I have, Nick, was everyone will see your video and everyone will care about your video once you start uploading. Now,
Yep.
this is something that is definitely something that you're thinking about on day one. It's actually something I was looking at Mr. Beast. He was commenting on this and he was saying, your first few videos are going to be terrible. And also no one is really going to see your first few videos.
Yep.
It's surprising at how bad the algorithm is at uploading your video to a lot of people, and makes sense, I guess. In those early days, you've got no subscribers. There's no credibility around why it should show your videos to other people. But one thing we can say for certain is, I would say, Nick, maybe your first 5 videos, maybe your first 10, you can upload. And as long as you don't really, share it on every single social media platform out there, it's unlikely anyone will see your videos. And as long as you're comfortable with that, I think you're okay. It's not like the algorithm will project you out. That being said, though, YouTube is still very good at search. So if someone specifically looks for whatever you've put out, the Nick Kendall video on photography, the Sanjee Sen video on ETFs, it will help them find it. But it's not like you're going to appear on the home page just because you put out one video and everyone around the world will see it.
Yep. Definitely. And as well, I think I don't know. For me, I was very concerned that all my friends and family would see my first uploads, and it would be very embarrassing. But same thing. I think, first of all, most people won't see it because it's not recommended by YouTube very easily. And the second thing is, I think most people don't even care that much if you are uploading videos. It's like if you post a photo to Instagram, or if you see other people post photos to Instagram, it's like, oh yeah, that's cool, but you kind of move on with your day. You've got your own things to do. It's the same thing with videos, I think. So yeah, nothing to be too worried about.
That's right. It's surprising how little time we actually care thinking about other people.
Yeah.
Which we think other people are thinking about us.
Exactly.
But you're exactly right. I was on Instagram earlier today. I have already forgotten anything I saw on there.
Yeah.
So someone well could have started off a new Instagram page and I wouldn't have seen it. So there you go. That is my first one. My next one is, it will take ages to get monetized. Now, I guess this depends a lot on the definition of ages. Are we talking months? Or are we talking, 10 years? And monetized, what does monetized mean? So monetized in this context is when you start on YouTube, you are just uploading videos. You don't earn any money on any advertisements that are getting paid on your page. Now, Nick, it used to be the case where they wouldn't play any videos to start with on your page if you weren't monetized. But now I believe they have started actually playing videos on everyone's pages, on everyone's videos, but it's only if you're monetized you start to get some income.
Right.
There was a small shift to their terms and conditions, I recall. It was a couple of years ago. They basically said, before we were restricted to only monetized people, and then you can choose whether you have it on and off. But now I think they wanted to say, we will give it to anyone, but you can only earn money on monetized videos. And if you're monetized, it still doesn't mean every video gets an ad. I think they still kind of control that, but I think that was an interesting thing. But going on to monetize, it took me on and off, because I was on and off for about 3 years on YouTube, but I would say it was probably 2 years of actively uploading, at which at the end of the second year I got monetized. That's about, let's say, 720, 750 days.
Yeah, wow.
Not necessarily 750 videos, I should also say, but about 100-ish, maybe a little bit less actually. I think about 80 videos I had to upload before I got monetized. The actual monetization rules will keep changing. When I was doing it, it was, I believe, 1,000 subscribers and about 2,500 hours of watch time. I think that might have changed, Nick. I don't know if you know.
I think it's about the same. Pretty
About the
sure,
same?
but they've included like a shorts criteria as well. But yeah.
And now it is, so maybe same, maybe not. And what I found was, to get monetized, I was uploading videos, nothing really stuck. But for me, it was my tutorial videos where I show this is how you literally do something. And those are naturally videos people will spend a lot of time watching. And that's what helped me really pull myself along to get to the 2,500 hours of watch time. And again, I didn't know that was going to be the case. It was just another videos I was uploading. And actually, Nick, I don't know if I told you this. The day I uploaded it, I think it didn't do much. It took a while before it actually got picked up by the algorithm. And I think it got recommended off the tail end of someone else's video. And then it really started to gain momentum. So I thought that was quite interesting.
Right.
But that is something to be mindful of. It's going to be hard to get monetized off shorts, I imagine, because it's hard to get watch time off that. There's probably other rules like you mentioned. But to get those 2,500 hours of watch time, you really need some good long videos that are quality that people want to keep watching.
Yeah.
And my suggestion is definitely tutorials. Nick, I don't know what your thoughts are on what would be a good way to hit your watch time quickly.
Yeah, I'd say tutorials and things that are searchable, because I think early on, before your videos have, before you've gotten the hang of the algorithm and crafting videos for YouTube that the algorithm likes, that are really engaging and that type of thing, what will end up being shown to viewers is stuff that's searchable, and that often is tutorials, like you're saying. So I think that really helps, especially in areas that are like related to high traffic. Like for you, it was ComSec stuff. I think for me, it was Kindle videos. So like it's a popular product. Some tutorial stuff people are looking up. If they've just bought their first Kindle, same sort of thing. So I think that makes a big difference. And yeah, just coming off that, I think for me personally, I think I was probably making money from my YouTube channel in the first, I can't remember exactly, I want to say 3 or 4 months. So it was pretty quick for me, and that was because I used it was a referral program for a neobank, I think they call them. So it was just a link in the description. If you sign up using my code, you'll get $5 and I get $5. So I think early on I made a video about that and put the link in the description. Didn't expect much, but I started to see these little $5 trickling through into my account, and it added up. I think maybe my first month I might have made $50, which isn't heaps, but like it's something. So yeah, like I think getting your watch time up and trying to get monetized on YouTube for the ad revenue is obviously a good goal to have. But if you think outside the box, think of other ways that you can monetize your content. Even like potentially, depending on what niche you're in and what type of content you're creating, thinking about products that you could list of your own, or you create digital products that you could list, alongside your videos that you're uploading. Especially if it's really niche, I think that's something to look out for. If it's a really niche product, you don't need a lot of views to make money from. So yeah, so definitely you can make money fairly quickly.
That's a good point, Nick, around monetization. A lot of times people think it's just about YouTube, monetization, ad revenue, but there's also other ways you can make money. Because I think one thing I've learned about YouTube is it's a great marketing platform, great way to get a lot of awareness out there for you or whatever it is. And like you're saying, you can then very quickly direct those people to your own platforms or your own courses or products and not necessarily rely on the YouTube ad revenue. Very good point.
Yeah.
And I guess the misconception is it won't take 5-10 years, but it also won't take 2 months. It will take a bit of time. I think it's safe to kind of say around a year or 18 months, I would sort of budget. And you probably need at least 50 to 100 videos initially. I remember seeing, much higher numbers out there. I don't think it took us 500 videos each. I remember back a while ago. I think that's what it was. But I think progressively YouTube just has more people on it watching it. And so each person probably gets more views and yeah, but you still need at least a year, I would say, to be safe to get monetized.
Definitely.
But like Nick said, you can get you can actually start earning money much sooner if you use other platforms as well.
Yep.
So my final one is the common misconception that it's hard to get ideas on what to make your videos about. I certainly think the first 3 to 5 videos you'll have to spend a bit of time thinking about. After that, naturally, after you've recorded those videos, edited them, published them, naturally your brain will just find other topics in your niche that you'll be like, oh, I can make a video on that. I can make a video on that. The other thing is you'll also get questions from the audience. If you're making quality videos, they'll want to engage with you and they'll come up with ideas for your future videos. So I think this happens a lot to me and probably to you, Nick, where someone will say, hey, what do you think of this? Or what about this? And I'll be like, that's a good idea. I should make a video on it. Because the other common thing that's actually sort of related to this, I'll call out is I found in the early days, my videos were too comprehensive. They probably had too much in them to be a simple YouTube video. And I realized I would sort of make the video and then I'd cut out half and I'd be like, this could actually be a second video.
Right.
So I would say initially you might think I can do a video on this and that. You can almost decompose some of your videos and say there might actually be 2 ideas in here. Could this be 2 videos? And that's the other thing I would call out. Outside of that, there's typically also Google Trends. So you can look at what people are Googling in that space. The only thing about Google Trends is you have to be mindful of the time that it might be like a temporary thing that people are Googling. And then by the time you make a video and post it, it might no longer be something that's interesting to people. So you can look at the trends and you can see how things have shifted. So for example, Nick, I was looking at 2 words, ETFs and inflation. And over the last 5 years, as expected, inflation, according to Google Trends, has now ticked up and ETFs has actually kind of not ticked down, but it's relatively dropped off as a topic of interest for people that are Googling. So not necessarily all of those people will translate into YouTube views, but that's one way where you can kind of realize, oh, okay, inflation might be more of a topic I should talk about. It makes sense.
Especially because like Google and YouTube are kind of interlinked, and everyone like it's well known that YouTube's the second biggest search engine. So if people are searching in Google, then they're likely searching the same thing in YouTube. So
Yep, that's it. And even now, I think YouTube throws up sometimes a video result as one of the top 1 or 2 results, and you can see it. It'll be interesting when Chat GPT and all these kind of chat AI platforms start to gain more. Will they? Because right now, all these systems kind of give you the content, and then you have to go and search for the answer. It'll be interesting over time if these things will start to kind of. I think there's been times when YouTube has sort of I've searched for something and it's shown me specifically where in the video the answer to my question was.
Yeah.
I thought that was very handy. Like they've obviously, or we know they're transcribed, but they've obviously very clearly identified certain parts of video of handy. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting space as the 2 work together, YouTube and Google overall. And the final topic or the final area where I think you can find video ideas is obviously other creators in your space. Now, it's not necessarily stealing an idea. I know that was a lot of my initial thoughts. It's basically you can have a different take on a popular topic. So I know when I'm struggling for an idea, I might have a look at what other people are talking about and I'll think, oh, okay, that looks like a good idea, but I probably have a different take. I can make a video on that and you can sort of express that and publish that. So definitely, I would easily put it as a common misconception. You don't need 1,000 ideas. You just need 3 to 5 ideas to kick off with. And this also applies if you're doing a blog or even maybe an Instagram page specifically on something. You just need a few ideas to kick off, well thought out. Then once your juices start flowing, you'll easily come up with more ideas to go ahead with and expand out and niche down into other areas, expand out into other areas. It'll all work out.
I really like your suggestion of Google Trends because I haven't actually used that much. So I might have to add that to my toolkit for video ideas because I think that's really relevant. And I like what you said about breaking an idea down or like expanding it from a single idea, because there's something I try and do as well. Like often I'll come up with a single YouTube video idea and I'll try and break it down into individual steps and then think about if I can make an entire video about each step. So for example, like I'm wanting to make a video about how to edit a YouTube video. So like, what software to use, all that type of thing. But that to me is a classic example where I could break that down into probably like 5 videos even. Like I could do a whole video on like, the settings you need to use on your camera to be optimized for YouTube. I could do like a video on how to, a particular piece of software that you could use to cut up your videos before you bring them into your editing software. And then you could do another video on color grading. You could do another video on the actual editing process. You could do a video on the uploading process. Like there's so many different elements to that kind of one thing that you could break down, and it just instantly gives you heaps more ideas. So I think that's something definitely worth thinking about. And the other thing I was just quickly going to mention is I've noticed YouTube has recently brought in a research tab. I don't know if you've seen that or looked into it much, but it's actually really interesting. It's got some interesting stuff in there that I think could give you some ideas. It's given me some ideas, and I think the thing that I like about it is it gives you content gaps. So it tells you specifically where there's gaps for content that people are searching for stuff.
Okay.
So I've looked in there a few times. I probably need to go in there more and do more research. But that's also a good springboard place to get some ideas of what people are searching for and might get you some traction.
Absolutely. Because I do find I can come up with ideas, but I'm not sure if they're even interesting or people want them. So I did see the tab. I haven't actually looked at it, which is a shame on me because I probably should have a look, at least for the next few videos. I can probably think of a couple of things that I could do. So thank you for the suggestion. I'll definitely have a look. So that was my list, and I'll let you know if any pop up along the way. But I'm curious to hear from you, Nick. What are some of your misconceptions that I think people should be aware about before they kick off?
Well, these are kind of like some of the misconceptions that I think I have faced and had to overcome. And so the first one for me was just that growth will be super quick for most people. So I think I thought when I first started that, 2 years max, I'd be at 100K subs, be making millions of dollars, like it'd be sweet, But I think part of the problem is the people who are really successful, you often hear about the kind of the overnight success stories.
Yeah.
And so it makes you think that that's the case for everyone. But I kind of wonder if there's just heaps of people out there making YouTube videos. And for most people, it's just slow, steady growth. Kind of like, I kind of think about it like in terms of business. So it's kind of like any small business. Most small businesses don't explode overnight. Of course, there are, there's exceptions to the rule where, like a Facebook or something just explodes and goes viral and becomes a massive behemoth. But for most businesses, start off small, steady growth over time. And that's kind of what it takes. And like you mentioned before, like your first stack of videos are probably going to suck. Like they're not going to be high quality, depending on your background. Like if you've already got a videography background, then maybe they'll be great. But for most people, it'll be slow growth at the start. And I think for me, it's kind of discouraging because it's like, oh man, it's going to take longer than I expected. But it's also encouraging because it's like, okay, it's normal for me to be growing slower than I initially expected or would hope for. And that's okay. Like that's the normal, process that everyone has to go through. And so I wonder if more than any single strategy for growth, just being consistent over time is kind of the two main indicators for success. Because if you can stick with it, um, I think that's one of the coolest opportunities with YouTube is that if you do stick with it, you are consistent. I think, and it's almost inevitable as long as you're improving your content over time that you'll eventually reach some level of success. So, yeah, that was my first misconception. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I definitely think if I had been more consistent, I would have been a lot more successful. And I agree. If you're putting the videos out, you'll naturally, and you have the natural kind of improvement mindset, you'll naturally see where you need to tweak things. You'll see the gap. You'll find that opportunity, and then you'll also naturally also diversify, like you said, around other monetization areas. Like it's totally a space you can build something out of. It's really hard to do if you're doing other things as well.
True.
But you're now on the front lines of doing it full time. So I think there's now a lot more that we can kind of learn from that. But yeah, I definitely find the people that went headfirst into it full time, which is very hard to do. It's very hard to do like from day one. Like I think most people have sort of eased themselves into it.
Yep.
But if you're going full time from day one, it's probably a lot scarier than if you've got a little bit of success behind you before you transition in.
It's true. So yeah, the second thing for me was kind of just like a one size fits all approach. So I think I kind of had the idea that if I just do the exact same thing that I've seen other YouTubers do, then I'll have the exact same success as them.
Yeah.
But I think like everyone is just really unique, like I think that's one of the things I like about YouTube in a lot of ways is that everyone's journey is different, everyone's journey is unique, and a strategy that works for one person might not work for you, because there's so many variables, like everyone's got a different personality, everyone's in different niches, got different backgrounds, types of content, etc. And it's kind of like everyone's got a slightly different combo on those things. And so I think for me, I've learnt to be okay with the fact that my journey is unique and it's not exactly the same as everyone else.
Yep.
And I think one of the examples I was thinking about for me was a lot of creators in the videography niche sell LUTs and presets. That's kind of like their they're one of their main products that make them a lot of money. I've seen a few content creators, and that's like their main source of income. Like they'll make 10 grand a month from it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like they can make serious money with literally just LUTs and presets, like photo presets. And so I tried, I thought, oh yeah, I can do that. Like I can make a LUT, I can make some presets, package it together, sell it, and it was terrible. I think I sold maybe 5 copies, in a year. And I think it's partly because my audience is just different. Like they come to me for slightly different things.
Yeah.
And so I need to think about, okay, what's my unique particular audience going to resonate with, that's actually going to work for me and my audience, as opposed to just trying to copy what someone else has done. So, yeah, just sort of being okay with the uniqueness of your own journey, I think is important. But
I definitely think the idea of the digital product is something we like you and I need to explore a lot more, because even though you made the LUTs and you sold some, I can't imagine you put like a lot of time and money into it necessarily to create that product. And so it wasn't a big loss. I imagine like it's a missed opportunity maybe, but it wasn't like you invested 50 grand trying to get the LUT business started. And you got 5 sales. So there's something there around. Yeah, I agree. Like we got to find a couple of good digital products that work well for our cohort, our audience, that they find valuable and that might have recurring revenue opportunities as well. And then, yeah, from that, much more, yeah, potentially another revenue source.
Yeah. And I think even on that, like that's a good point you bring up. I think the thing I was thinking about is to try and look for principles for success that work across the board rather than looking for specific examples.
Yep.
So I think
Yep.
I was thinking specifically about LUTs and presets. So it's like, okay, that specific example of that type of product will work for me. But I think the principle of coming up with a product that resonates with your audience is what you want to go after rather than trying to duplicate a particular example. So
Yep.
that's what I've actually got some really good book recommendations for you. So I have to tell you afterwards. But yeah, looking for the principles of success, I think is key. And then my last one, which is we've kind of talked about a little bit already. But my thought on this was that thinking that YouTube's a good side hustle to make heaps of money really fast is a bit of a misconception. I think again, I thought 2 years max, I'll be making 100 grand a month. It's going to be easy. it's going to be fine. But yeah, that hasn't been the case for me at least. And again, I think there's definitely examples of people out there who have done that, but I think they're the exception to the rule rather than the rule. And I think like any type of business, there's always going to be huge potential and huge potential upside. But it often takes a lot of time and effort and learning to get there. So, and again, like we talked about earlier, you can monetize quickly in the beginning, but that doesn't necessarily mean you'll make thousands of dollars a month. Like I was making $50 to $100 a month for the first 6 months to a year. And the other thing I think I realized about that was making financial success my main goal or primary goal for my YouTube channel wasn't sustainable for me, because I realized, a year in and I was still making, I don't know, a couple of dollars per video off AdSense or something. It was not motivating. Like, why am I spending 8 to 12 hours making a video to make $2? Like, I could just go and work my regular job and it'd be a lot easier. So when I shifted that to like a secondary goal, or a peripheral goal almost, and made other things the primary goal that were more sustainable, that really helped me be more consistent. So for me, it was, I wanted to improve my video skills, and that was a sustainable thing because I knew that each video I made, I can improve. So that's something I can, actually achieve and see results with. And then I just wanted to be able to help people. So trying to think about how I can make videos that are useful in some way, even if it's just a small way. That was a lot more motivating to me than the prospect of just making a couple of dollars for 8 hours of work. So
Yeah. The idea of and you just don't know what's going to work, which videos are going to do well. You don't know what the revenue is going to be, but it's definitely going to be more than zero. But yeah, I still can't get my head around how some of these people are getting 100 grand a year. Like, we know it's real; it's not impossible. I think there's just some bangers that you really have to get that just carry it. Even my revenue, most of it comes from like 1 or 2 videos per month. Can you imagine if we just found more 1 and 2 videos per month? And it might be like if I think about it, it's probably every 50 videos. If I go off that, it's 1 or 2 videos a month and I have about 100 videos. So basically means every 50 videos, I get a video that does a good job that can maybe really increase my revenue.
Yeah.
And I would just do another 50 videos to find the next one.
But I think that's the thing. Like, I was thinking, I wonder if that's the difference between us and the big creators, because the big creators seem to be able to replicate, like they get that banger video, like pretty much every video or every second video. Like, they're really consistent because I think they've figured out how to do it. Like, they've figured out, and that's that. I think that is what takes the time. Like, to learn that, you've got to make a whole bunch of content. It's going to fail. You got to learn from the successful content, learn from the failed content. And I think that process is what takes the time. But once if you dedicate enough time to it, I'm optimistic that you can learn,
Yeah.
you know, that formula to make every video successful, and then that's when you unlock theoretically the big money. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that is my my 3 misconceptions that I've struggled with. Yeah.
It's been quite a journey, Nick. I think we will be successful, no doubt. We're just a couple of years behind where we could be if we had those bangers, but I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
I agree. Like I think everything I see from Colin and Samir, Mr. Beast, all these guys. I mean, not necessarily Mr. Beast, but I think Mr. Beast is hard because he's not replicating videos necessarily. He's replicating the formula, but the videos
Exactly.
are all kind of different, and
Exactly.
that is actually quite hard. I think it was actually Colin and Samir who was saying like each video is a whole new thing. It's
Mm,
not like a TV show where they come up with a
mm,
formula and they repeat it. It is actually every video has to be this amazing thing.
that's
As
true.
you were saying around the 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 good operators have consistent videos that are good. I was sort of looking at Ali Abdal's one, and I noticed like some of his videos. So at the time he's got like 3.5 million subscribers. He's got a few million subscribers, but each of his videos, if you look at them, they're sort of around the 100, 200, maybe 300,000 mark,
Mm-hmm.
which for you and I is amazing. For him is really 10%
Mm,
of his actual subscribership.
mm,
Um, that is, and it may not be actually the 10%, but like the views are about 10% of his subscription. So, and he can use that enough to just, to generate a decent amount of income. I think he's getting about 50 grand a month in ad revenue, 50 grand pounds, 50 pounds a month. So, probably 60, $70,000 for us, which is, real money, real money. We would both be very happy with that. Um, and so I think there is an element of, as our audience does grow, hopefully I mean, we all watch revenue, but it's probably that key view count. As we just put more videos out, we should get more views, which should translate to more revenue over time. But yeah, there is something to be said about the elements of the bangers that we can try and replicate.
mm, mm. And I mean, even like Colin and Samir have been doing YouTube for what, 12 years?
Long time,
15
yeah,
years? Like a
yeah,
long time. And it's really in the last few years that they're really seeing the big numbers. And
yeah,
then, same with Mr. Beast is the classic example. He did YouTube for what, a decade before he got the big success. So I think
yeah,
again, it's like putting in that time to learn the system, which is not easy to learn. I think there's obviously ways to speed up how quickly you learn it. I think some people just seem to get it, like Ali Abdul. Like he had pretty quick success as far as
yeah.
I'm concerned. Like it was like 3 years, and he was making over 100 grand. But yeah, I just kind of wonder, maybe that's the exception to the rule. But if you keep putting the time in, that's why I think YouTube is such a cool opportunity, because it's a platform that rewards people who are consistent with it, and do put the time and effort into learning it. So
Absolutely. We could talk more about Ali. I think we'll do maybe another video, maybe when we do with David. But there is a bit to be said about Ali and Graham Stephan.
yeah,
These are all guys that just kind of popped up. And I remember watching Ali's and Graham's videos and thinking, wow, they don't have as many subscribers as they should have.
yeah,
Like
right,
early on, you could see, oh, they're doing good work.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
like, yeah, and I do wonder, yeah, there's something to be said. They found topics that had good broad reach,
yep,
which is really important to start
yep,
with. What I
yep,
want to watch is actually, and I've got it in my watch later list, is their videos about, if I was to start tomorrow a new channel, how would I do it? I
yeah,
think there'd be
right,
some good learnings there around it.
definitely,
Recommended reading for both of us.
definitely, I like it.
All right. Well, Nick, where can people find you on the internet if they were looking for more of your content?
I am on YouTube, just Nick Kendall, and then Instagram at Nick Kendall _. And the website's nickkendall.com.au. How about you, Sanjee?
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm Sanjee Sen on YouTube, Sanjee_investing on Instagram, and sanjeesen.com on my webpage. And you were saying you were sort of doing a break on Instagram. Is that how long do we have left on that one, or is it sort of undecided?
Pretty much indefinite. Like I'm
Okay.
really just focusing on YouTube at the moment. I'm still going to
Yep.
upload the odd reel to Instagram, but just trying to put all my focus and attention to learning learning YouTube because I'm
Yep.
trying to get that along. But yeah.
Good. Very good. All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you and listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye for now.